Have you ever done this? So you've completed a piece of work for a client, maybe a relatively small piece of work, such as you may have completed an extra payroll for them, or it may be a mortgage application, or they may be wanting to get a new car and they want you to review the tax benefits of this specific car. So you complete this piece of work, or it may be a team member completes this piece of work, and you get to the end of doing your job and then you say the famous words, which are, on this occasion, there's going to be no charge. But if you come to us again, we're definitely going to have to charge you for this. There's a lot of value, there's a lot of effort that goes into this piece of work. But on this occasion, we're going to reduce our bill to nothing and we're going to give you this service. And the client's happy and you're happy. You feel that warm glow inside and you justify it to yourself in one of a few ways, which may be that it's a new client. You just want to help them out. You want to wow them. You want to go above and beyond. They're struggling a little bit, so we're going to help them out. It's the pandemic, isn't it? So there's no money about, so we're doing our bit. We're doing what we can to help them. Either way, you justify it to yourself in a way that makes you feel good, and you leave that interaction, and you finish for the day, and you go to bed that night. You took your kids in bed, kiss them goodnight, kiss your partner, kiss your dog, whatever. And you go to bed and you lie there thinking, you got that warm, fuzzy feeling, how good you are, all the great work that you're doing, all that training that you put in to learn the skills that you've got to be able to deliver this level of value. And then you start to think about your own business and think, but we're going above and beyond. We're doing extra work that we're not getting paid for. And yeah, we might be helping our clients out, but we're still struggling. We're not getting paid enough money that we need to get paid. Can we afford payroll? And then your mind starts to wander off and you start to think about yourself, because the reality is, and I get to speak to lots of firms around the world and I say to them, it's great that you want to do these good things and that you want to help and serve your clients. That's wonderful. But at the end of the day, when you lock up at night and you're in your own little world, no one is thinking about you, I'm afraid. Your clients aren't lying there thinking, all that extra work they did for us, I hope they're going to survive. I hope they're getting paid. I hope they're getting rewarded. The reality is they're not thinking about you. And so you have to make sure that this world that you create for yourself is everything that you want for yourself. And I know this because I've been in this space for a few years now, working with firms around the world, thousands of firms, bookkeepers, accountants, startup businesses, huge top 100 firms, top 4 firms. And we've been helping them through our Software Go proposal to have consistent pricing methodologies, which have a system that allows them to agree their fees easily with their clients. And not only that, but we educate them on how to do this, and we talk about mindset, and we have a community, a peer community, to help support them with this. But what I know from my experience is that's not enough. Now, you may use this system, you may have another system, you may have a spreadsheet that you use, you may have a menu of services written down. Whatever it is that you have, just having the system, having the process for how to do something like this isn't enough in its own right, because we have to have the accompanying mindset. If your mindset doesn't align with the blueprint, with the strategy, with the map, you'll never actually move forward. If you've got conflicting beliefs, if you've got limiting beliefs, then these are the things that's actually going to hold you back, because we've all got this voice in our head, right? So you're listening to me now at 300 words a minute, but you've got a voice in your head that's talking to you at 1,200 words a minute about the things that I'm talking to you about. So you may sit here throughout this presentation saying, yeah, that's great. Oh, that'll really help us out. That's a really good idea. But the voice in your head is going, we will never do that. We will never do that thing. Our clients will never pay that extra amount. It's the pandemic. We're really struggling. That's okay for you guys in Manchester, but that's never going to work for us down in this little rural village here. All of our clients are farmers. They don't even have any technology. They don't even have emails. They're never going to go for this. We've got people down the road undercutting us. They're never going to want to pay for this service. And it's that voice in your head that we really need to challenge, because the voice in your head is trying to protect you. It doesn't want any harm to come to you. So what it's trying to do is to convince you that if you was to do this thing, it's going to move you out of your comfort zone and potentially into pain. But the interesting thing that I found with the thousands of firms that I've spoken to is that a lot of them are in pain already, and they're not comfortable. And what they think is their comfort zone is just actually their familiar zone. And if they were to just move out of it, they could actually get into a position of far greater comfort. And the challenge that you face is it's not just your mindset that has to be aligned here. You know, if you've got team members, their mindsets have to be aligned with this, because at the end of the day, they're on the front line. They're the ones dealing with the client. So it's okay you getting your head straight about this. But then if your team members aren't prepared to do it, nothing's going to move forward either. If you have multiple partners in your firm, again, getting those to agree with it as well can be a real challenge, and it can really feel like you're trying to drag your firm up a hill. You know exactly where you want to go. Your mindset is right, but we need everyone else to go forward as well. And this is why you will have tried to implement systems in the past or implement processes or technology. Everything seems to stack up, and then a few months later, no one's using it. The system doesn't work. It grinds to a halt. And what I would say is the reason why that nearly always happens is because everybody's mindset isn't aligned with why we're actually implementing that system. So before we get into this, I want to tell you the fable of the frog and the scorpion, which you may have heard before. So the frog is at the side of the river and it's about to cross, and a scorpion comes up and says to the frog, "Can you help me across the river?" They're talking, by the way, they're talking frogs and talking scorpions. "Can you help me across the river?" And the frog says, "Are you crazy? I'm not going to do that." And the scorpion says, "Why not?" It's, "Well, scorpions kill frogs. So what's going to happen is you'll get on my back, we'll get halfway across the river, you'll sting me, you'll kill me, and I'll die." And the scorpion says, "You're not thinking straight." He says, "Why on earth would I do that? Because if I sting you when we're going across the river, then you're going to die, but I'm going to die as well. It makes no sense. So let me get on." So the frog thinks about it and thinks, "Yeah, it's fair enough." So the scorpion jumps on the frog's back. They get halfway across the river, and sure enough, the scorpion stings the frog, and it's about to die. They're both bobbing about. They're both going under. The scorpion can't swim. The frog's dying. And the frog says to the scorpion, "What did you do? Why did you do that? Now we're both going to die." And the scorpion says, "Because that's what scorpions do. We kill frogs." And the moral of the story is that whatever our underlying beliefs are, whatever we believe about ourselves will ultimately guide our behavior, even if that's going to take us into real pain, even if it's going to kill us off in the end in our business, you know. And so this is so fundamentally important that we address our underlying beliefs that we have about selling and about our fear of selling when we're having conversations with clients, and our awareness about money and what's actually going on there. Because if you don't, and you continue to conform to the thinking that you've got, the behavior that you'll have can ultimately really cause you some severe pain, and in some cases finish firms off as well. So that's why I've been working really hard on this subject for the last 12 months to really help firms, especially through these challenging times now, to really get to grips with this. So 4 years ago, I launched the first version of my book, Selling to Serve, but there was a missing section to it. And so for the last few months, I've been writing it up, but for the last 12 months, I've been studying it and filling in the 5 missing chapters. So the missing chapters are why you really think selling is bad, the 9 reasons that you struggle to sell, why you just need to be you, 4 reasons why clients say no. And I'll give you a spoiler here. It's got nothing to do with money, and it's got nothing to do with time. And the 6 common objections to your services. And so we've been working really hard on these and understanding the psychology behind this, about what you're thinking, about what your team are thinking, and about what your clients are thinking as well. And this is not flimsy sales psychology, you know, figuring ways to kind of manipulate your clients into spending more with you and learning these surface sales psychological techniques. It's got nothing to do with that. This is about understanding us as human beings and really getting deep into our psyche to understand actually what's going on when we get to that point where we should be charging our clients, and we should be charging them good fees as well. But then also to understand, if a client were to say no, or to say to you, "Well, that's too expensive," to understand what they really mean as well and what's going on with them, because they don't know either. And the more we can have awareness of that and bring that awareness into your life and into your business and into your team's lives as well, then all of a sudden we can start to really grow more profitably and start to enjoy what's going on a lot more as well. So what I'm going to be talking to you about today is, why is selling the most important skill you can develop? Why do we really dislike selling? Why do clients say no? and what do they really mean when they say something is too expensive. So we're going to start with why is selling the most important skill I believe you can learn. And before I do that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you what's actually going on in your firm. Now, I'm a director of an accountancy firm myself as well, so this is where this study first started, and then we started to develop this model and look at other firms as well, and what we've produced is something called our core model. And so if you were to cut your firm through the center, we have three things that we're trying to achieve. We're trying to impact and serve our clients. We're trying to build a thriving culture that enables us to do that with our great team. And ultimately, we're trying to make money as well. But very often, firms have this in the wrong order because, to my mind, the most important thing is to make money. And that's for two reasons. One is if you don't do it, you can't survive and you can't sustain your business. But also, your clients are coming to you because they want to make money as well. And if you can't do it for yourself, how on earth can you help them to do it? Now, you may argue that that's not your primary function of your business. Your primary function is to serve your clients. And I would argue that that is your reason why. That's the thing that gets you out of bed in the morning and gets you excited. It's the thing that makes you do what you do. But fundamentally, the primary function of the business has to be to make money. And so we need to get that order right. And if we don't have this model correct, if we don't solve what's going on in the core of the business, then it leads to these surface problems. And the surface problems that we face are over-servicing clients, getting underpaid from our clients, being undervalued by our clients, which seems really ironic, the fact that you would be over-servicing them, not charging them enough, and they still don't value you anyway, not being systemized, which leads to being fairly chaotic, and ultimately it leads to overwhelm. And what happens is, if we address these surface problems, they never actually go away. It's like just trying to rub cream on something because we're not actually addressing what's going on in the core. And if we dive into the core, the ability to make money in your business actually comes down to something which is the sales system. Now, the sales system, put simply, is comprised of two halves, which is the scope of the work that you do, and the price of the work that you've done for that client. So it's an exchange of value. It's effectively saying, this is what we're going to do for you in exchange for what you're going to pay us. But typically what happens is that starts out of whack, in the fact that you tend to start off doing more work for that client than you're getting paid for. And then over time, as the client asks for more things, as you do those extra pieces of work for free, the scope gets larger and larger and larger in comparison to the price. And when you have that imbalance at the core of your business, it's actually that causes all of the surface problems that we face. And so all we actually need to do is to get into the core of this and to get those two components to be in balance with each other so that we're doing everything we possibly can for the client, but that we're charging for all the hard work that we do as well. And once you get those two things in balance, what you actually find is that all of the surface problems either disappear completely or fade to the point where they're not such an issue. Now, if you can't sell your service and you can't charge for them, no value can be exchanged. And this is the first conflicting belief that we hit. And so if I would say to you, do you want to serve your clients? Do you want to help them? Do you want to do everything you can for them? You'd be like, yeah, absolutely. Okay. Do you like selling? Do you want to sell to them? Oh no, I don't like that. And that's all of a sudden now never going to move us forward, because on one hand, we want to serve them, help them, do everything we can. On the other hand, we don't like selling, we don't want to charge them, and therefore we've now got an issue that we can't move forward with. And the reason why we don't like selling is because of our experience of salespeople in the past. We've all experienced bad salespeople, and we don't want to be associated with those people. And so we have real conflicting thoughts around selling that we have to really unpick. But ultimately, if we can't sell, no value can ever be exchanged. Also, to my mind, this is what we teach in our firm and what I teach the firms that work with us, is that it's your ethical obligation not to sell your client everything that they need. Is not to be fair to them. In fact, it's to be selfish. And so what we say and what we teach is that, look, all you ever got to do is present what you would want if you were them, knowing what you know. It's not about selling the services to the client that they want. You've got to sell them what they really need. You've got to get under the skin of this to understand what their real challenges are. And I guarantee they will have been let down by their previous accountant, because their previous accountant or bookkeeper will not have dared have this conversation with the client. So the client thinks, I need X, Y, and Z, and that's what the previous accountant sold to them, and it's not worked out. So they've now come to you and saying, look, I need X, Y, and Z. And you're like, no, you need A, B, C, D, E, F, G, all the way down to Z. And you've got to be confident enough to have that conversation with them. Selling is your ethical obligation. And the other thing, and this is so, so important, is that selling is not just about selling. Selling is not just about getting cash for providing a service. We're all selling all of the time. And if you're not selling, you're being sold to, right? I'm selling my kids on the idea that they're going to go to bed at 8 o'clock. And they're trying to sell me on the fact that no, they're not. They're going to stay up to 9 o'clock. They want a can of Coke before they go to bed and play Fortnite one more time, right? I've got to sell them on the fact that no, you're not. You're not doing any of those things. You're going to bed now, but you can read a book for 10 minutes. We're always selling all of the time. You know, you're selling your clients on why they need to use QuickBooks Online, why they need to use cloud software rather than the current desktop software that they're on, okay? Or you're selling them on why they need to give you the information that you need them to give you on time in this format by this date, and your clients are trying to sell you on why they're not going to do any of those things. So a sale is happening all of the time, and this is why I say it's the most important skill, not just for you, but for your entire team. And what was interesting is this week, I got an email from a proposal member, and she says, I've got a question for you. I hope you don't mind. I'm just going to read this. So we have a couple of clients who pay us religiously every month, but just fail to respond to all communications. Always late, never responsive, and by the time they do actually send their paperwork in, it's a case of drop everything and get it done. As it's so late, we don't want to add to the problem. Would you keep this client on or lose them to make room for someone that does respond to requests and actually cares about progressing? First of all, those dream clients don't exist. Those clients who are going to turn up and give you everything that you need in the format that you want it, when you want it, they don't exist. Great clients don't exist, just like bad clients don't exist. They're trained. We either train our clients to be bad or we're training our clients to be great clients. So what I explained to this person is, this is an issue. This is an issue here of selling. So you've sold them the services they need, and you've got them paying you, which is brilliant. But now we've got to sell them on why they need to give us this information when we need it in the format that we need it. This is just another sell. We've got to get over this and to be able to have this conversation. And she says, yeah, but they say they don't have time to be able to give us this and do this. And so I told her a story, and this is in my book, which is of my wife, Becky. So our accounting firm, MAP, they're our accountant as well. And so for the last few months, prior to January, they were trying to get our information off us that we needed to be able to complete the tax return. So I submitted mine to them fairly quickly, and they were just chasing Becky for ages. They were sending her emails, they were texting her, they were ringing her, and she just never got around to doing it. And when I asked her, well, why haven't you just given them this information? I haven't got time. You know, we've got kids at home that we're homeschooling, all these other things that are going on, and I haven't had time to do this. And what I explained to this accountant yesterday, I said she didn't have time to complete a tax return information, but she did have time prior to lockdown to go and having a hair done for 3 hours. So what's the difference? Because she's got time. What is the thing that's going on here? And there is actually one fundamental thing that's happening that she gets from having her hair done that she's not going to get from completing a tax return, because you have not allowed her to get this one thing. And so without that, she will just give you the excuse of, I don't have time. And what's happening is you're buying it. A sale is always happening. You're either selling or you're being sold to. You're trying to sell your client on, give me this information by this date. They're selling you on the fact that, no, I'm not. And guess what? You've bought it. So you now think this is a bad client, and you're looking for other clients who are going to be better. They do not exist. They are not out there. All of the clients that you need, everything that you're looking for, you are sat on right now if you can just develop the skills to be able to turn those clients into great clients. So why do we really dislike selling? Well, they told you that your qualifications would be enough, and you believe that. So you thought that, well, if I can just learn these incredible skills, if I can just get another qualification, if I can just get these skills to a higher level, clients are just going to fall at my feet and they're going to throw money at me and they're going to really value what they do. Selling is not beneath any profession. Selling is the thing that we have to hold in high regard. We have to develop these skills. As I explained earlier, the reason we dislike selling so much is because of all the negative experience we've had of selling historically. And just you getting more qualifications is never going to change that. This is just a law. This will always be the case. And so what happens is you get your qualifications, you go to your clients, they don't want to give you the money or they don't want to spend it as you want them to spend it. And so you think, well, I need more qualifications. So you go and buy more qualifications, you come back and think the thing doesn't change. And the irony of this is that the training companies, they're happy to sell you these qualifications and you're happy to spend money on those, but fundamentally things aren't changing. The next one, and this is where we have to get deep with this, is our fear of judgment. And this is, I think, really at the core of our inability to sell and our dislike of it. We don't want to be judged. We don't want to be seen as being greedy when we're sat talking to our clients. We don't want to, we become concerned in terms of what they're going to be thinking once they've left. What are they going to be saying? And especially if you're in a small community, what are they going to be saying to other people? And what are they going to be saying to other accountants as well? Accountants talk to each other. And what if they leave and go somewhere else and tell that other accountant that you know how expensive you are? How is that going to make you feel? And maybe these clients, we can serve family members, we can serve friends of family, we can serve friends. You might play golf with this person, or they may have a child at your children's school. We can be very connected to our clients in different ways. And so again, that just adds to this fear of judgment because we become concerned in terms of who they're talking about. We also are fully aware of what's going on social media, in the fact that you could charge them this fee and they could walk out on their phone saying, God, don't go there. They're so expensive. I can't believe they dare charge me for this. I'm really struggling, in my business, and this accountant's trying to rip me off, etc. So this fear of judgment is absolutely massive. It's not something I can tackle in this session here because it's so deep, and it's closely linked to our fear of rejection. The fear of rejection is at our absolute core. You can never get rid of the fear of rejection. It's hardwired into us. It's hardwired into us because it wants us to stay part of the tribe. Hundreds of thousands of years ago, if we stay part of the tribe, you're not going to get eaten by a saber-toothed tiger and we're going to get food, right? And so we've still got that programmed within us. And so fear of rejection in our mind makes us think that if we're going to get rejected from this sales conversation, we're not just going to lose this client. What if we lose all our clients? What if no one ever buys anything from us again? What if I can't afford to feed my kids? We go off in this spiral. And fear of rejection from this client is very closely linked to the fear of rejection that you felt throughout your life. We could get really deep into this, but we've all felt rejection at many times throughout our lives, and it causes pain. And our mind knows this. And so faced with a situation where the fear of rejection is a possible outcome, our mind, the voice in your head, will do everything it can to help you to avoid that scenario rather than actually confront it. So this is a really important thing that we need to address. And the next thing, and I find this one quite amusing, is that we feel bad about taking money from people who don't have it. And that we somehow think that if we charge our client for this service, that somehow they're not going to be able to afford to, pay their rent, pay their mortgage, feed their kids. And somehow that is going to be, on your conscience that, you're responsible for them being homeless and not being able to eat. But what I find really quite amusing about that is it's easy to buy into the story that your clients have no money, even though they have a new BMW on the drive, a 70-inch plasma TV on the wall, all the kids have iPhones, and they've just booked an extravagant family holiday. Like, people aren't struggling with cash. The money's out there. And if people want to find the money for something, they will find it. And so my friend sent me this week, which I thought was interesting as well. Amazon are now doing $1.4 billion a day throughout, the whole pandemic. Their figures have gone through the roof. Jeff Bezos has gone from being the richest man in the world to being the richest man in the world People are still spending money. They have lots of money. They're just spending it on Amazon. So Jeff Bezos doesn't have an issue in terms of convincing people to spend the money with him. So why should you have an issue of convincing those clients to spend money with you when you think about what it is that you're doing for them? You're helping their business to stay alive. You're helping them to make more money. You're helping them to have a more secure, more predictable future. You've trained hard to do this for years and years and years, and now you're passing all of that wisdom and passion onto your clients to be able to serve them and help them with the most important part of their business. If the finance function of their business doesn't hold, their business won't hold. And so we have to be more comfortable with getting money off our clients, because I promise you, they do have it. So let's look at why our clients do say no. So money rarely stops people from getting what they want. So I'm from a mining village that's about 2 miles this way. It's one of the largest villages in the UK, but the mine shut down like 20 years ago, something like that. And so it's not, a very affluent area. There's an Amazon warehouse set up fairly nearby, and there's a BT call center, and that kind of provides some of the employment. But I guarantee if I was to take this camera and drive you around there now, you would not be seeing people wearing shabby clothes, not driving nice cars. They will find a way to get the things that they want. Money rarely stops people from getting what they want. People are even prepared to go into debt, into large amounts of debt, to get the things they want. So for them, money isn't an issue. But here's the real reason why people say no, even if they say it's to do with money. It's because they don't want to make another bad decision. They've made bad decisions in the past. They've bought things that haven't worked out. They've got, locked into contracts that they wanted to get away from and they couldn't do. They booked a holiday that, they got to the hotel and it was next to a building site. They bought something off eBay and it didn't work, whatever. We've all got bad experiences based on the decisions we've made in the past. And the number one reason why people will not buy is because they don't want to make another bad decision. They're trying to avoid pain as well. And so if they associate or even have a hint that this could lead to any pain or concern for them, then they will just fob you off with an excuse like it's too expensive or I don't have time. It's very easy for them to pass you that. And again, you're either selling or you're being sold to. So if you buy into the idea that it's because it's too expensive because they don't have enough money, then you'll end up going the absolute wrong way in terms of how to solve this. So we have to help them to become better decision makers. The reason as well why they won't make that decision is because of lack of certainty in the outcome. And this is such an important thing. If you're making notes, please write this one down. You're not selling accounting services. You're not selling bookkeeping services. You're selling certainty. The reason why Becky was happy to give 3 hours up to go to the hair salon is because she had certainty. She knew how she would be made to feel as a result of going there. She knew how she would feel when she would walk out. She knew how she would look. She knew how great she would feel, etc. Whereas if you're ringing people up, trying to get them to complete their tax return, and you've not given them certainty in terms of how long it's going to take, how easy it's going to be to complete, what this actually is going to mean for them, what benefits they're going to get from this. If there is no certainty, then they're going to move towards the things that they are certain in, and they're just going to fob you off with an excuse such as, I haven't got time. But it's because you've been selling them the wrong thing. You've been trying to sell them on the idea of completing their tax return, but you've not sold them any certainty. So we always have to think, what is the certainty that that client is looking for? If you're trying to bring on a new client, they may be concerned in terms of, how disruptive is this going to be from leaving their previous accountant, which is why they stay with their previous accountant. They would rather stay there in financial pain, having a bad service from them, rather than risk the uncertainty of moving over to you, even though you may be 10 times better. And that's because you've not sold them the certainty. You've not sold them certainty in the onboarding process, for example. We have a brochure in our firm that we give to our clients that gives them confidence in terms of exactly what will happen throughout that entire onboarding experience. We give them certainty around the services that they're going to get from us. If you're trying to convince the client, you're trying to sell them cloud software rather than desktop software, and they're not going with it, it's not because they don't want the software, it's because they see it as uncertain. They think that they're going to lose information, they're going to lose data, they've got to learn a new system. So we have to change our mind that we're not selling software or products or services, we're selling certainty. So if you keep hitting against these challenges, you have to look at how you're making your clients feel uncertain and how you can reverse that. And then this last one, I think this is so interesting because the client will never ever tell you this. They have a lack of trust, okay? And there may be a lack of trust in the outcome, there may be a lack of trust in you, there may be a lack of trust in various things, but their number one thing is a lack of trust in themselves. Again, they don't trust themselves to make the right decision. They've made bad decisions in the past, so they have a lack of trust in themselves. So you have to give them trust in themselves. So let's say they come to you and they say, I've had a terrible experience with my previous accountant, my software's just not, working as it should do. And you indulge them in that thinking, oh, that's terrible, I can't believe that accountant did that, they should never do that. Oh, you're using that software, that's the worst software, you should never use that, we've got this amazing software that we're going to get you on. All you're doing is undermining their trust, okay? So you're corroding their trust further, and now you expect them to have trust to make this next decision to come with you. They won't do it. So what you've actually got to do is to give them trust in their decisions in the past, even if those decisions worked out to be bad. So let's say, for example, they say their previous accountant was bad. You can say, well, look, at least you got a good, you know that you needed an accountant and that you've got awareness of that now so that you know what you're looking for. So well done for looking to make that decision. Your desktop software isn't great. Well, at least you've got some software. I still know of some companies that are using, Excel spreadsheets, right? So well done for recognizing that you need to do that. Now let me show you something better. And so you're reinforcing the trust in themselves because you now need them to make a better decision. To my mind, selling is about helping someone to see something through a different lens or from a different perspective so they can make a better decision for themselves. That's all we're trying to help them to do. We're trying to help them to make a better decision for themselves so they can move forward. So if we look at the key takeaways that I've shared with you from this, selling is the most important skill that you can develop. Selling isn't just about money, but selling moves into all parts of your business. And if you look at where you face challenges with clients, because clients will be presenting the greatest challenges to you, I'm sure, then it's because they've sold you on something rather than you selling them on something. The fear of rejection will always be there. We can never avoid it. It's hardwired into our brain. It's there designed to protect us, but we have to have awareness of it and we have to have strategies to help us to overcome it and to move forward with that fear anyway. We can't wait for the absence of fear. We have to take the fear and learn the skills to keep moving forward with it. Your clients do have money, even though they may say, that's too expensive, or I can get it cheaper elsewhere, or I don't see the value in this, or I don't have any money. Now, it may be the case, but it's very rarely the case. And there's actually ways that you can help them to navigate that, even if it is the case, But do not buy into the idea that your clients don't have any money. They do have it. They're just spending it elsewhere. They're spending it with Jeff. You just need to convince them to spend it with you. You're not selling accounting services or bookkeeping services. You're selling certainty. If you have a look at where you faced challenges in the past, and this, normally starts with selling additional services to existing clients, or it may be selling new services to new clients. Wherever you've hit against roadblocks, just have a look at where there may be uncertainty in the client's mind and what could you have done to help them to have more certainty. I'm a big believer in operating above the line and accepting responsibility rather than blaming the client. So if the client says no, they don't want to move forward with it, it's too expensive, I would say, how can we accept responsibility for this? Where are we responsible? Where have we failed to communicate certainty? And what could we do to help instill that certainty in the client? How can we show them things? How can we map things out very clearly so they understand exactly what's going on? They know what the onboarding process is going to be like. How can we share stories from other clients who have been on a similar journey, who had the same fears initially, but have now got to this point? How can we use a combination of those things to provide certainty into that client's mind to help them to make a better decision for themselves and to move forward with you, or to move forward with buying more from you? And you need to help your clients to make better decisions. We don't get trained in how to make good decisions, but deciding, the power of making decisions, is the only thing that ever moves a business forward. It's the only thing that's going to move your life forward. If you don't decide, you will stay stuck. And so if a client's come into you and they say, yeah, I'm just going to stay where I am a little bit longer, or I need more time to think, it's about learning the skills to be able to go back to them and say, look, you've been trying that for the last 12 months or the last 5 years, and with respect, nothing's moved forward for you. We need to make a decision here. Let me help you to make that decision. Let's take that first step towards solving this problem. And what do you need to see from me to have confidence to make that next step? What do I need to show you that would give you the confidence for you to know that this is going to be the right decision for you? How will you know in 6 months, 12 months time that this was the best decision you've ever made? These are not manipulative techniques. These are really good opening questions to uncover what's going on in the client's mind and to allow them to challenge their own thinking, their own limiting beliefs, so they do have more confidence to make that decision to move forward with you. So I hope you've got some good takeaways from this. I hope you've taken some good notes, but only by taking action is anything actually going to change for you or for your business or for your clients. So something I've got for you that you may be able to really help you is my book, Selling to Serve, where I've got these missing chapters in here. So if you want to go and get the book, you can go and grab that on Amazon. It's available in paperback, Kindle, and on audio as well. But if you just want to go and get a few of those missing chapters and just see what it's all about, then if you head over to goproposal.com/free, I've made some of those missing chapters available for you to go and grab. There's also some audio files from SoundCloud that you can go and listen to as well. And I can really start to help you to unpick some of those challenges in your limiting beliefs and conflicting thoughts, so that you can actually get the mindset that's going to align you with the strategy that's going to help you to price consistently, price more profitably, and help you to build a more successful firm this year and beyond. Because at the end of the day, you are the most important thing. You've got to get your business strong. You've got to sleep soundly at night, knowing that you're charging for all the hard work that you do, because ultimately by doing that, that will enable you to serve your clients to higher and higher levels as well. Thank you so much for listening. And now we're going to stay here and I'll answer any questions that you've got.